Hey, guys. We are not in Florida.
This is not the office, not the Cunningham home office.
We are coming to you from Ireland, and more specifically,
Adair Manor.
Adair
as I
Manor.
was corrected, I was saying it wrong.
It's not Adair, it's Adair, where they meet you at the gate in tuxedos, top hats and tuxedos. And we got to show them a little. It's kind of crazy right now. There's buses coming to pick us up. Like right now, look, there's a bus right there.
Go slower with the camera. You're gonna make them all see.
Okay, I'm trying to get sick. So check for my flower people. Check this out. These are everywhere. They're everywhere. Look, there's a castle over my shoulder. In fact, come out here. Got to show you a little bit of this, right? Here's a little bit of the gardens. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But there it sits, guys. There is right there. Let's see. Let's see. Back. Right there. That is the entrance to the castle. And so, yeah, it's another garden back here. It's been quite amazing, and we really didn't know when we were going to be able to shoot this with you guys today, but we knew that we had to share a little bit of this beautiful place with you guys. And first message off the top of this thing is every one of you could qualify for this. This is not something that is just for, I don't know even what to say. People always think we have like these special friends, and we didn't do anything other than we set some goals and we put one foot in front of the other, and we landed here a few years later in Ireland. So guys, we want to just give you some thoughts as we're closing out the month of August. And whether you're in the United States, Canada, around the world, we know when we get towards the end of the month that we're in a business and we're trying to hit goals and try to grow our paychecks, as well as help a lot of people with these amazing products. And so it's the 25th. It's probably not even the 25th yet. Well, maybe. It's really early in the United States.
26th. Monday the 26th.
Is it the 26th?
We're so lost on days, it's not even funny. We're like, what day of the week is it? It's true.
I'm still trying to figure it out because we haven't slept very much either. So anyway, we want to kind of give you some thoughts for closing out the month. We know that we've been really big in the app with watching our personal volume, whether it's got a little red square or a green square. And that just simply means that you have more personal volume or less personal volume. And the significance of that is twofold, in my opinion. One, you can't ask your team to do something you're not doing. So you can't ask your team or wonder why we aren't growing or why people aren't joining me if you're not doing your part. And so it's a challenge. It's a challenge every month.
Well, it's a way to kind of keep you on your toes. It's somewhat of an accountability partner, if you're allowing it to be.
Your personal accountability partner in your pocket or your purse, right? And so if you're not, you've got plenty of time. We're going to give you some thoughts today on what you can do to go out and get your PV up and get some more customers and some distributors, and then teaching that into your team. And so that's the key, is not only do you go green, but you teach your team how to go green, and that'll land you here. Really, if you go green and you teach your team how to go green, that is network marketing. First you do, and then you teach. You do, then you teach. And when you do that for a long enough period of time, you have let's not complicate this. You go, you take the products, you get a story, you tell that story. And then you have other people take the products, they get a story, and then you teach them how to tell their story. That is this business. And so Lynette and I were just saying maybe we should talk about follow-up a little bit as we were talking about the 25th. And it's not all about inviting, right? If you're now at the end of the month, yes, you can still be introducing this to new contacts for the very first time. But to get results, what we want to do is we want to start following up with people.
Well, because it's like you can't just introduce the business and expect that it's going to grow from there. And I feel like a lot of times, a lot of us have so much anxiety about actually putting this out there in front of somebody that once it's done, we're like, oh, okay, I did it. But no, that was like, you just took literally step number one in the process of getting to where you're going. And if you aren't following up with those people, then that step number one was almost wasted, because potentially someone else is going to come and take step number two for you. And because honestly, there's no way people are going to get enough information with one touch that it's going to make that big of a difference in their mind or what they want to do with the information. So follow-up is the biggest piece of this. And we've talked many times about the statistics of how many times it actually takes a follow-up before someone actually makes a decision. And you can oftentimes just reflect on your own story. I mean, Brandon and I took weeks before we got to that point of being open to actually hearing the information. But that came with information being mailed to us for us to see, with emails, with phone calls and messaging, just trying to get that time set aside for us to hear from someone else more about what this was. And that's what it's all about.
And it's about timing as well, and not your timing. So yes, we want to close the month out strong. Yes, we want to rank events. Yes, we want to go green, but it's not based on our timing, because we're ready. You're in. We're in, right? The question is, are you putting this in front of people when they are ready? And that is why you have to follow up so many times, because the majority of times they're not ready.
Right.
They're not ready. So we keep following up with people until they're ready. Now, a big misconception is that every time you follow up with them, you're talking about LifeVantage or the products. Let me tell you a quick story. I've got a guy that I bought a boat from. You don't know this story. Well, you know about the boat.
There's not another boat.
I've already bought and sold the boat, so you know about the boat. But he's a dentist from North Carolina, and I put a post out on social media, and I can't believe I didn't tell you this. He hit me back and was asking me about boats, and he said, I think I need to know about this Nerf 2 thing. So I didn't like jump on him, although I kind of wanted to, because he's a dentist. And I think he's kind of, you know, got his life put together, probably has a pretty good circle of people. But he said in the message, I know it's network marketing, and the only reason I haven't spoke to you about this already is my sister-in-law keeps cramming ABC company. I'm not going to say the company. My sister-in-law keeps cramming this ABC company down my throat, and it drives me nuts. So my point to you is, when you follow up, don't do that. Like, here's my call to action for you on follow-up. I want you to reach out to 10 people a day for the rest of this month. And that reach out is simply just to be a friend, just to connect. How's it going? If you know something's been going on in someone's life, follow up, whether it's their mom, their dad, their sons, their kids. If you really, we talked about this last week. If you really want to be likable and recallable, right? The law of likability, you have to know their family. If you know their family, you're in, right? So follow up with people, reach out to people, 10 reach outs. And what will happen is, no matter if your invite's terrible and you're not even presenting yet. I mean, think of the worst case scenario that you could think of as a distributor. Maybe you're fearful of talking to people. If you will just reach out to enough people every day, non-LifeVantage conversation, but they know you're in LifeVantage, that's following up. And eventually, when the time is right, they're going to like you, they're going to listen to you, and they're probably going to be more receptive to this. So just a little thought when it comes to following up with people is, I have found, because we've been doing this 10 years, guys, like, we've talked to almost everybody. We're pretty much talking to strangers. Okay, I got a caddy here that he's 19 and pretty much ready to go. Okay.
Father's a doctor.
Father's a doctor.
Our sister's a nurse.
Girlfriend's nursing school. So when I follow up with him, it's not going to be strictly about LifeVantage, right? I'm going to be asking more questions about his wife and school. You guys get the point, I hope. So don't be that person. Don't be the person that's driving people away. Be the person that's attracting people by being a giver, not a taker, right? Be the giver, not the taker. And you're going to have people coming to you in this business, I think, left and right. So our core value, you got anything else to add?
No, core value.
Number
being
one.
intentional.
And purposeful. We live our lives with purpose and intention. I think there's a reason why it's number one. Maybe that's just in my head, but I don't think any of the core values even come into play if you're not purposeful and intentional from the beginning.
Yeah.
I really think that's where it starts. And what that means to us, what it means to a lot of the leaders in this team, is that not just some of your decisions, but hopefully all of your decisions are based around purpose, because it's purpose that allows you to kind of stay the course. If you don't know where you're going, you can kind of drift to the left, you can kind of drift to the right, and that applies to every aspect of your life. And when you're intentional about things, it just means that you're putting a little more thought. Think about your last vacation. You were probably very intentional. You probably did some research on where you were going to, not only, the city you were going to, but the hotels, what activities they did at the hotels, what was around those. You spent time. You didn't just show up, spend your money, and hope for the best. You were intentional. And I wish people would kind of treat their business as serious as they treat their vacations.
Well, and with this being an incentive trip, we had like a 3 or 4 hour layover. So we were in the Delta Sky Club with another qualifier, a Pro 4, I believe. And she was sharing with us the story of how intentional she was in getting to Ireland, to a point where she called her upline and she says, okay, I've got it mapped out how I think that I am going to get to Ireland, my plan to get to Ireland. Can you come and do the math and oversee to make sure that I have figured it properly? And he's like, sure, yeah. So he goes over and looks, and he's like a little embarrassed because it was so spelled out exactly what this person needs, this person needs this, and how she intended to help that to happen. And all of that funneled down to the points it would require for her to get here. And they said it happened exactly as it was mapped out. That is being intentional.
I think she qualified for Ireland by 3 points.
3 points.
3 points.
Exactly how she had it mapped out to a T. So obviously she knew that, okay, I'm not giving myself a lot of cushion, but this is the only way I see it happening. And it happened. And so it just, to me, reiterates the significance of having a purpose in what you're intending to do with your business, knowing what you want out of it and knowing what it's going to require of you to do it, and then doing that on a daily basis, because in the end, that's what it boils down to. It's the daily decisions that compound to the results that you're looking to get. And so if there's something that you're wanting, if there's a certain rank, if there's a certain income amount, if there's an incentive trip that you want to qualify for, whatever it is, don't just wait and see if it's going to happen. Be intentional about making it happen.
I'm getting so excited. The sun is coming out. Look, the sun's coming out. The sun's coming out.
So Ireland's not super sunny, just going to say.
But the weather has been spectacular.
It's been beautiful.
Listen, I'm all of like squirrel. There's something called the law of diminishing intent. And as Lynette was speaking just now, I started thinking about it, because people put things off. They make this much more painful than it needs to be. This doesn't need to be painful. Living in purpose, living intentionally. I know for a lot of people there's fear, even for us, there's fears involved in every step that you make, but the longer you put it off, the law of diminishing intent simply is the longer it takes for you to do something or make a decision, the better probability it will never happen. Okay? So, think about your business and then squash that down to think about what you do on a daily basis. Are you the person that accomplishes things like just before you go to bed because you said you were going to do it, but you just stressed about it all day? Like you finally got that invite out right before you went to bed, and it was just like this fast, quick thing because you know you're supposed to invite, but you went through all that agony through the day. Guys, the law of diminishing intent is real. And if you're going to be intentional, if you're going to be purposeful, successful people, people that are actually exceeding goals, they're doing things earlier in the day, early in the week, early in the month. So set a goal. I know we're already now at the 26th, have my days squirrely. Set a goal that you are going to be rank advancing on the 25th of every month, not the 30th or the 31st, right? And that gives you time. That's what actually we were doing when we were on our runs through the rank, is we had goals to qualify on the last subscription auto date of the month. And then that gave us real clarity and focus of where we needed to really be hyper-focused in our organization. And that comes from being intentional and purposeful and not putting things off, just jumping in there. And so do that, guys. Let that call to action that I just gave you guys of reaching out to 10 people a day, right? Following up with 10 people a day, connecting with 10 people a day. Don't do that at 10 p.m. Do that at 10 a.m. or earlier in the day. Have a goal to have that done by, noon or so. And then watch how productive you can be for the rest of the day or the rest of the week or the rest of the month. People think the Pro 10s or people that have achieved great things, that there's some drastic thing like this. We've talked about the secret sauce, and the secret sauce, it's in the daily routines. The secret sauce, listen, we got up at 7:30 this morning, and I didn't want to get up at 7:30 this morning, but somebody had to ride bicycles before we left this place.
I was being intentional about taking advantage of Adair Manor.
Because there was an amazing whiskey bar that we were in the night before. I mean, how can you not come to this place when there's the tack room and not go there? So we did it all, but
we fit it all in. Just not much sleep.
Not much sleep. And so sometimes you're going to have to do things you don't want to do so that you can have the reward. And I'm glad we did it. It's all good. I'm going to take a nap on the bus. And we got to tour this amazing place on bicycles. We actually handed our bicycles off to Carrie Dickey, which was kind of cool. So they got to tour the place. So we hope you guys can take a little bit of that core value, apply it in your day, apply it in your business. And if you will just think about what I said about that story with the dentist and how you follow up and how you make people feel, because that's what this is all about, right? If you can make people attracted to what you're doing versus running from what you're doing, that's how you want to run your business, and that's how you're going to get results. So you guys, I hope that you come to Ireland with us when the company comes back. There is amazing things in the future. Super 7, if you're not planning your strategies for Super 7, you're already behind some other people that are planning their strategies. Everybody should take this product. Everybody should take this product. They just asked us, how does it make me feel? And I'm going to tell you how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like we have 25 to 26 hours. What do I mean by that? We all have segments of the day where we're not as productive as we would like to be, just from exhaustion maybe. This product, for me, is allowing me to stay on task in normal times where I would need a siesta. It is what it is.
At the end of the day too, it makes me so happy that the company is giving us things that are so on point for helping our health. There's so many companies out there that have products that are really just,
toothpaste?
Fillers, I guess, to some extent.
Nothing wrong with toothpaste, but it's not pretend.
It's just that I love knowing that I'm taking full control of everything I can do. And it's based on science. So love that.
You guys have a great week, and we'll be checking back in with you somewhere else. We'll probably be in Florida. And we'll get somebody of the distributors back on here. I loved having Fred on here last week. I think he gave us some great perspectives, and we're going to try and do that with you guys. But the internet connection has not been fantastic, and that's okay. We will take the trade-off of this amazing place. The Ryder Cup is being played here for all my golf fans. I'm not a big golfer. I'm not even going to try and play that off. But the Ryder Cup is being played here in 2026. And that's kind of cool because this place was insane. The golf course was insane. The food was amazing. And how cool is it to be a part of a company that thinks on this level, does things on this level, and then makes it available to every one of you. You know what, just real quick, we got a couple minutes. We were talking before we turned the camera on about our run to Pro 10, because we never thought that was possible. We never even really thought about ranks when we joined this company. But some of you guys know the month that we qualified for Pro 10, we qualified. If you don't know, it takes $1 million minimum in volume to qualify. And many times you have more volume than that because of the way the organizations fall. And so we had more than $1 million in volume. But we ended up qualifying by $5. Okay, the volume was coming in, the volume was coming in, the volume was coming in. And once we crossed over the qualification volume, we crossed over by $5 and the volume stopped. We needed over $80,000 in volume on the last day of the month to qualify. And we crossed it by $5. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is every phone call counted. Every three-way call, every follow-up, every bottle of Pro Tandem, every bottle of True Science, every bottle counted. And so what I want you to think about, if you're a Pro 1 or Pro 2 or a new distributor, here's really why I brought this story up. You may still be $500 away. You still may be $1,000 away. You still may be $10,000 away from your next rank. And I'm here to tell you, it's possible. If you can get your mind wrapped around every call counts, and you can teach that to your team. And it starts by you setting the goal of not you rank advancing, but others rank advancing. The reason we hit Pro 10 is there was a number of people in the group that had declared they were hitting certain ranks. We had a couple people that said, I'm gonna be a 7 this month. And they did. We had 2 Pro 6s that went to Pro 7, and it was them and the collective efforts of the entire team, obviously, but a couple people making decisions and us working with them is what put us over by $5. And so don't count yourself out. If you think you're too far away, you are. Lynette loves saying that. If you think you can, right?
If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Right. And so first set it to mind. Thoughts become things. Every call counts. Follow up like a pro, not an amateur, and be intentional and purposeful. And I kind of wrapped that all up there at one time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the message today. Anything you want to say?
No, it's all good. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon.
Tell them about what you're doing.
Oh, I got a special present.
You can see it?
Can you see my present?
It's really cool.
So this is an inscription of the Ogham alphabet, which is the original alphabet in Ireland. Mm-hmm. And corporate called this guy and asked him to give them a description of me in one word. He didn't know why they wanted that, so he had to think about it. And he came back with an answer, not knowing what they were doing. And the answer was Wonder Woman. Oh, pretty cool. And they had it inscribed in Ogham alphabet. My name is on one side, Wonder Woman is on the other. So cool. Yeah. So cool.
Wonder Woman. Oh. You guys go be Superman. Go be Wonder Woman.
Take care, guys. Love you.
It.